Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great, what's today? Thursday. Wow, time's flying by. What happened today? Miners were kind of mixed today as far as stock prices are concerned. Bitcoin was up in the morning, but then it kind of came back down in the afternoon, which is kind of surprising. So there's still a battle going on with Bitcoin. And then as far as news, what do we have news out there? Not much today. The only thing that we have is Marathon providing a little clip, a video clip about their pilot effort to provide heat to like 11,000 homes. So we'll take a look at that. We'll also take a look at the miners here. How have they performed in the last year to date, and how have they performed from the bottom? Basically, that was back in January of 2023, roughly. So we'll take a look at that. Then we'll get into your guys' Q&A side of things, and we'll call it a day. It's going to be pretty easy here. Okay, but as always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice, for entertainment only. Please do your own research. And here's my full disclosures for you guys as well. If you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Definitely helps me out tremendously here. And let's take a look at the charts, see what we got going on. And right now you can see Bitcoin's kind of up a little bit right now in the new day. But you can see the wick that we had here on today's chart. We went up to basically right at the, I think that's the 50-day simple moving average, which is this bottom line here. It's now crossed over the 100 simple day moving average. And last time we saw this, we looked at this a little, I think in yesterday's video as well. But last time this happened was back here, right? This was right around October of 2023. We had the switcheroo where we had the 100 crossover, or the 50-day crossover, the 100-day. And then at that point, we kind of took off a little bit here. I'm wondering if the same thing's going to happen again. So maybe this, I'm kind of talking a little fast here. I got a lot of stuff in my mind. But maybe, is this potentially the kind of like the bottom here in Bitcoin right now? Could we come down a little bit more? Maybe. But I think we're getting close to where we start rising up higher going forward. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. But that's it on Bitcoin here. Let's see here. Miners, for the most part, they were mixed, right? We had a couple that were up nicely here. BitDeer was up 8.59%. Today we had Cypher up 4.59%, and they were up much higher during the day, and then they came back. I mean, look at Cypher here. Cypher had a high today. Where was the high? High was $5.89, and it closed at $5.24. So definitely we rallied quite nicely in the morning hours. If we go to like the 1 hour chart, you can see your morning, we started out, Bitcoin was up higher. You know, a lot of these stocks were up much higher, and then they pulled back towards the end of the day. Who else was up nicely? Hut 8 was up nicely today. Really no news for them. We still don't have any updates for them for May. Mawson came out with their update for May today, which Mawson was always like the last one to provide it always. And we still don't have anything from Hut 8. So Asher and company, Sue, get your stuff together. You need an update here from you guys to see what's going on in May. You guys said you wanted to be more transparent. This is not being more transparent. Stronghold was up nicely today, 11.08%, right? Nice also. Opening here went much higher, then came back down, and it actually finished out pretty good on the end of the day. But the rest of the miners were down a little bit here. Some were up just a little bit as well. The one big one that was up huge today was, I don't have it in here, was, let's take a look at Grid. Let's see here, GRDI, Grid. Grid was up huge today. Remember we talked about Grid yesterday's video, where there's a rumor that potentially Cleanspark might be looking to buy them out. Check out Grid here. Grid was up huge today. I mean, it was, it was like a rocket today. It was up, what was it, like 180% at one point. It came back down towards the end of the day here. Some people were in the trade today. I did not trade this at all. And I was surprised by it. I didn't think this was going to happen just based on the rumor, but I guess rumors kind of do this stuff sometimes. So if you guys did trade it, congrats to you guys. If you guys got in early in the morning and sold towards the top, congrats there, because it was up huge. If we look at it here on the daily candle, Grid just went public here recently as well. Looks like, when did they go? January of this year. Trying to get the big candle up here. But they started out, let's see, they opened at 98 cents. So that was definitely much higher than where they were the day before. Yesterday they were at 65 cents. So a huge increase from there. And let's see if we can maybe draw the line on it, how much of that increase was actually there. Let's see, from here all the way up to here. So it was up almost 200% in just one day. Crazy. But that's kind of the way things work out sometimes. So that is it for the miners here. Let's take a look at Marathon here really quick. So Marathon provided a video on their Twitter space, or X space, whatever you want to call it now, X page, on their X feed. And it's a video. We didn't get a press release or anything like that. We just got a video from them. Okay, so we'll take a look at the video. I'm not going to play the video. We're just going to kind of read the titles that are in there. Can I go over it? So Marathon Digital Holdings has launched a 2 megawatt pilot project to recycle heat from its digital asset compute data center to warm a community of 11,000 residents in Finland. That's pretty impressive, right? 11,000. So let's continue on here. Going down. Okay. Got a nice little tracker there. Nice little doggy. That's a cute pup. This pilot project is Marathon's first digital asset compute operation specifically tailored for district heating solutions. Okay. So, and then look at these servers here. They don't look like the regular ASIC miners that we're used to seeing. So I don't know if this is just stock footage that they pulled in from something just to put in the information there that they did a pilot program, because it's got nothing on the doors as being marathons or anything like that. And we'll see in a little bit here as well the insides of them. Let's see. District heating involves heating water in a central location and distributing it through a network of underground pipes within a local area. You saw this a lot in Europe, even in like some of the pre-Cold War countries, like Russia, some of the other countries that were in the like Soviet Union and communism and things like that. You saw where they had like central heating. It wasn't individual units didn't have their own heating. It was government supplied heating basically in a lot of countries there. So this is pretty common there. Let's see, continuing on here. So those are the pipes. Okay, Marathon is exploring ways to monetize heat generated by its data centers. Okay, they do generate a heck of a lot of heat there. That's I know that. And then here we can see, I'm not sure. Okay, cold in, hot out, it looks like. Now, unless they did something different with the A6 here, which they could have, they might have been working with Auradine here to do this in order to do to heat the homes there. But based on the fronts of the cabinets, it looked like it was just regular servers at that point. Let's see, allowing district heating systems to use this heat instead of burning fossil fuels or biomass for thermal energy. Okay. What else do we have here? This pilot project represents an innovative test in Marathon's pursuit towards developing new revenue streams. And I mean, see these servers here? I mean, they look like regular servers almost. So that's why I was a little surprised by that. I mean, look at these things. Look like regular Blade servers. And the strategic approach to achieving zero cost power for digital asset computing while offering new solutions for the world's energy transformation. Okay, that's all great. I'm going to continue on here. Let's see what else do we have here from them. I think that might be it. Yeah, that is it. So, I mean, it looks pretty sophisticated. And it looks like a completely different setup than what we've seen before with the A6, right? Even the hydro-cooled, so immersion-cooled systems that they have out there by Bitmain, others. This looks like a complete and total custom setup job on it, which is impressive. If this is the case, then definitely very impressive. But, excuse me. My take on this is all great, but what happens in like a summer, right? Summertime, people don't need heat. What happens at that point? Do you still continue to mine it at that point? Could you be using that for something else potentially? I don't know, right? Those are some questions that I have there. Also, some other thoughts on this type of where the heat generated, you're trying to put it off into another use product. What about like greenhouses for farming, for plant growers and all that stuff? What if you move that heat through pipes or through vents into an adjacent building that does grow crops for people, right? Could that be used for that to help offset because they need heat in there? Also, what about, I'm just kind of brainstorming here, what about cannabis, right? Cannabis needs the crop. They usually, when they cut the crop down, they put it up, hang it up, and then it has to dry, right? If you introduce this much heat into a facility, you could probably dry those cannabis crops a lot faster, potentially as well. Could there be something there with that you could, maybe do a joint partnership with a cannabis grower or something like that, potentially? What else could you use this stuff for? What about like a industrial laundromat or something like that, where you just have conveyors of, uniforms or something like that, and they're being dried by this kind of heat, right? So there's other uses as well that could be possibly done with this. But that's just some ideas that I have on this. Nonetheless, this is very interesting and very, very cool, I think. We don't have much details on as far as how much it costs them to do it. What's the ROI on this type of thing? What's the time frame that you can use this to heat homes, right? In Finland or wherever this is at. I mean, it's cold. They're way up there, so it's cold for a majority of the year, right? But you still have summer times and everything else. So, I mean, what's happening there? So, a lot more information is needed, I think, in order to get a good understanding of what's really happening there. But let me know what you guys think of that. And then let's get into the miners here really quick. So I just thought we would kind of take a look at the miners, see how they did here in the last year-to-date figures, and really quick on how they did from 2023 as well at that point. So here are the stats that we have here. We're going to look at just quick ones, 12-month hash rate difference. So we can see here Marathon has increased the most here in the last 12 months. They're up almost 13.4 exahash here, followed by Cleanspark, which is up 11.2 exahash. And then we got a bunch that are just like in the, well, we have 2 in the 5 exahash range, then we have a couple in the 4. So we got Bitdeer and Core being in the 5 exahash range here. And then we got Iris and Riot and TeraWolf being in the 4s. And then we have a couple, well, we have 2 that are in 2 exahash range, and that's Bitfarms and Cypher. And then we got ones that are in the 1 exahash range, or close to even 2, BitDigital, Hive, Hut8, right? Now, year-to-date, year-over-year BTC mine difference. So looking back to last May in 2023, and what did they mine here? So we got Cleanspark leading the pack here right now. They're up 187 BTC compared to last year, followed by TeraWolf up 109 here. And then we got Bitdeer up 55. We got Iris up 39. Marathon's up 35. And then we got BitDigital up 33, followed by Hut8 being up 16. Then we got Core being down quite a bit here, 323. Riot down 264. Bitfarms down 110, along with Cypher 113, and Hive down 61 on that. And then BTC mined the last 12 months. We can see here that Marathon has mined the most here, looks like 12.3 thousand BTC, followed by Core with 11. And this is just for Core self-mining, so this does not include the hosting. Same thing for Marathon. I think this just includes their self-mining. It doesn't include the joint ventures for them. And then we got Cleanspark here, and we got a bunch of companies that are like in the 4,000 range, 5,000 range as well. And then we got a couple, well, BitDigital's only the one that did about 1.5 thousand BTC during the last 12 months or so. But here's the interesting part of it all. If you look at the share price performance from basically the start of 2023, right? So the miners bottomed out in December of 2022. Had you bought back in just January, right, of 2023, and you held on to the stocks and shares that you had at that point, you would be up huge if you got into like Iris. Iris is up 965% from then. Cleanspark's up 828%. Cypher 767%. So those are like your top 3 there. Followed by Bitfarms 622%. Then you got TeraWolf 573%. And then you got Marathon only at 466%. Followed by BitDigital 350%. Bitcoin's up 288%. So those have definitely outperformed Bitcoin here since then, since the bottom. Riot's up 205%, Hut 180% roughly, Hive 121%, and Bitdeer is actually down 13%. And then Core, I don't have the information for them because they just they went through bankruptcy. They had a different ticker symbol. Now they got another new ticker symbol as well. So I don't have the information for Core right now on that one. And then when we look at share prices from year to date, basically, we can see here that Iris has outperformed everybody here. It's up 77% for the year. Cleanspark is up 54%. And then you got TeraWolf pretty close to Cleanspark as well, almost at 54% as well. Followed by Bitcoin being up 46%. And you got Cypher being up 6.82%. Everybody else here was actually in the negative here. Marathon's down 23% for the year. HUD is down 20%. Riot down 37%. Bitdeer is down 14%. Bitfarms is only down 4%. And Hive is down 34% as well. So it's kind of nice to take a look at this, I think, just to kind of see where we've come from, right? A lot of people talk about gains going forward. All right, can you still get a 10x? I think it's going to be tough to get a 10x on a lot of these guys here, unless they really come out with huge growth plans here, because you already have a lot of these guys getting 10x from the bottom, which is Iris, almost there. Cleanspark not too far away, along with Cypher. So going forward, can they still get a 10x? Sure. Bitcoin goes up to 300,000 or something like that, then I think they can get a 10x. But realistically, looking at it, I think if Bitcoin goes to 150,000, 200,000, something like that, we're looking at maybe more closer to a 5x, potentially on average around there on some of these guys here going forward. So there's still plenty of gains to be had, but you're not going to have those huge gains like you saw here, right? So if you got in here and you still have 5x on top of it, you're going to be doing really well at that point, right? So It's all about timing. Not really timing. It's all about being in the market, I guess you could say. Dollar cost averaging into it, being in the market, and holding on for the long run and hold on for dear life sometimes too as well. But that is it. So we'll call it a day here. So as always, my little sales pitch at the end. Patreon members get access to all my spreadsheets here on this stuff. Membership is only $8 a month. The link for that is down in the description. And there might be a couple spots that are open at the $4 and $5 range as well. All right. So that is it there. Let's get into you guys' Q&A side, see if you guys have anything interesting to discuss, questions, or anything like that. And otherwise, we'll call it a day here. So today's Thursday. Just a reminder, tomorrow's Friday. I don't do videos on Friday because you guys are all busy. I'm, well, not really busy. You guys aren't busy. You guys are celebrating the end of the week, right? So I'm also going to be celebrating, and then we'll do a video on Saturday. Unless something happens that's drastic tomorrow, we get some big news or something like that, then I might do a video at that point. Okay. But that is it. Let me see here. Let's get into your guys' questions here. Let's see. Okay, I think, let's see. Trying to see. Okay. Roger says, Rex going dark. He's doing a deal with Cleanspark. Yeah, I saw that. Was it a tweet I think he put out there? I don't know if he's doing a deal with Cleanspark. I think he's helping them possibly get a deal. I saw that. I was like, okay, well, maybe he could get finder's fees or something like that, right? If he finds a company for them to acquire or something like that, maybe he'll get finder's fees on it. But I guess he tweeted in that he's working with Cleanspark and some contacts that he has, I guess, right? And he stated in there that he's going to be trading the stock at all for the next month or something like that. Good on him. If he can do something for Cleanspark and get paid in it in return for it, hey, that's what this country's all about. Entrepreneurship, right? Hustle. So good for him if he can do that. Let's see, Lana says, I'm happy with 10% profit. And then here we go. Hi, Seb. Can you please provide your thoughts on BTC miners that are exploring HTC like CORZ, Hut 8, etc. in terms of contracts, feasibility, etc. Good vibes. Sure, I can talk about that. So in reality, we only have, okay, let's just back up here a little bit. So we have been hearing for a long time in this space. I've talked about it here for a while. We've talked about it on Twitter ad nauseum. It seems like that there is just so much demand for HPC, AI, right, high performance computing, and that the miners are going to be basically raking in, millions and billions of dollars from the contracts that they're going to get with the companies that are doing HPC and AI, right? So far, we've only seen really two companies that have gotten anything good from it. We've seen Core, right? They got a nice Core contract from CoreWeave for $3.5 billion over 12 years. CoreWeave is giving them $300 million to retrofit a facility of theirs, so that way it can be a tier 3 data center, meaning you have redundancies in power, redundancies in cooling, redundancies in internet, right? All those things, security, everything is going to be in place there. So that's supposed to take Core approximately till next year sometime this time around, right? They're looking at the end of the first half of 2025 sometime. Could they build out faster possibly or retrofit possibly, right? We don't know, but we'll see. They're saying middle of 2025. So we'll go with that. So the revenue doesn't start, I believe, until they get that facility all set up for them, and they can start energizing the high-performance computing at that point by CoreWeave, and they will get paid at that point. They do have a small contract with CoreWeave now, also for, 16 megawatts from an HPC facility that they are leasing. I believe that one is in, I want to say it's Texas, but I could be wrong on that one. So they do have that right now, but it's not as big, nowhere near as big as the one that they recently got. And then we also have BitDigital. BitDigital has a contract in place right now for $50 million. They've been talking about upping that contract to $100 million for, gosh, I don't know, it seems like 2 months now. But nothing has come to fruition yet, at least. It still may, right? Sam seems to be pretty confident that that's going to happen. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that it's going to happen there. So he's got a $50 million contract, and they're making about $4 million a month on that, roughly. And it's pretty profitable. Their margins are like right around 70% or something like that. So that's pretty good, right? And then you have all the other companies, Hive, Hut 8. You got IREN in there. You got Cypher, I believe, is getting into it as well. TeraWolf as well. which IREN, I know, has a contract in place right now. They're making about $1 million a month on it, but it's a short-term contract. Hut 8, I'm not sure what they have in place there right now. They do have HPCs that they purchased, or the H100s, I believe. They also had the old GPUs that they can transition over to AI and stuff like that. Hive, same thing. Hive is making, what is Hive making right now? I think it's close to $1 million also a month on HPC side of business, right? So it's $12 million, so it's pretty small, right? Not compared to what CORZ getting. And then who else do we have in that as well? Probably drawing a blank on some of these guys. But then you have companies like Marathon, which came out. They're not looking to do HPC. Neither is Cleanspark, nor Riot, right? Those guys look like they're going to be concentrating on just straight Bitcoin mining. So what does that mean for the companies that are in it right now? The big thing for the companies that are doing it, I think Core is the one that's doing it the best way potentially, right? You don't need to lay out a lot of capital up front in order to buy the servers, the H100s, or now, what are they going to be called? The Blackwells, I think they're calling the latest generation of AI chips from NVIDIA. So those things are expensive as heck. And that costs a lot of money to build out a huge data center with those things. So with Core basically just providing hosting solutions for CoreWeave, they get to benefit on the electricity, basically, the electricity, the infrastructure that's in place. CoreWeave is going to put in their own servers in that place, and they're just going to be hosting it for CoreWeave. So there's no real huge infrastructure inlay there, and CoreWeave is giving them $300 million to do that, but they will have to pay it back over time. So I think Core has the best setup right now based on that. The other companies don't, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe Cypher and TerraWolf are building out small sections of their facilities for HPC, which I believe they're going for like tier 3 data center standards at that point. If they do, we'll have to see what kind of customers they get there, right? But we're not seeing anything substantive right now from any of the other miners as far as revenues or huge revenues from the HPC side of the business. IREN, I believe, purchased their own HPC 100s, or HPC H100s. GPUs, they have, I think, 512 of those right now. They are looking to maybe do double that potentially. So it's still a very small play for them. They have contracts in place that are short term, 3 to 6 months, but that generates more revenue for them or better profit margins because of that. So it's tough. It's a tough place to be in. Maybe we're still early in this, but with all the hoopla about how much the demand there is for this, I thought there was going to be a race to fill those spots with all these miners, but we're just not seeing it, at least not yet. So maybe in time we will see that. And I don't know how many more of these whales, you could say, like CoreWeave, that you're going to be able to find where they're so well capitalized because of NVIDIA and all the money that's flown in from institutions to their side as well. But yeah, other than that, I mean, the only ones that I see other than that is like Google's and Amazon's and Microsoft's and Apple's, right? They have the capital, they have the cash to do it where they can throw in billions into it, and it would be like throwing in a couple pennies for them. So those are the ones that might, I don't know. It's tough to say whether those guys would partner up with any of these Bitcoin mining companies. I think they would probably want to do it themselves, like they have done with everything else. That's kind of how I see things right now. Let's see. Vic says, Rex going dark goes probably back in summer school. Kids likes Flux and PayPal stock, which are garbage. Yeah, I mean, I'll watch some of Rex's videos, but I haven't seen his most recent videos here in a while. Been just too busy with everything else. Let's see. When will CORZ warrants exercise? That's a good question. I've been told by some that it's going to take the stock price trading above the warrants exercise price for like 20 days or something like that. At that point, they will get exercise. So that's maybe when they will. But I'm not an expert on that part of things. What do you think about Hive? Their earnings next week could expose some AI benefits. Yeah, so this is going back to, we're going to get Q1, which was their Q4 numbers, and then their fiscal year 2023 or fiscal year 2024. I can't remember how they set that up. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they come out with there. How much the revenue has increased on the AI side of things as well. So definitely looking forward to that. Let's see here. Enrique Monkey says, I think BTC will hit 62,000 like an inverse head and shoulders possibility. Right, you never know. KOA Davison asks, how was your day, Sebastian? It was good. Thanks for asking. I hope it was good. If you have 200% in IREN, would it be smart to move a small portion into Bitfarms or just hold it? I'm sure I would be better off just holding it. Oh, I mean, that's your call there, right? The only time that I moved anything over was in Cleanspark where I was up 400%. I moved basically 20% of it, the cost basis that I put into it, and I moved it over into IREN actually. So I'm up on IREN like 100% right now. So IREN has definitely had a huge run up here. Bitfarms I think is still more undervalued right now. So it's your call on that one, how you want to do that. Let's see. Do you think Mara is doing side quests? Definitely curious why they don't say anything about ROI. Yeah, I mean, they are doing a lot of different things here, right? They got their two-pick immersion cooling, the two-phase immersion cooling, same things going on. They have their own motherboards for the ASIC miners. They have their own firmware. They have their own Mara pool. They have, what else do they have there? They got Slipstream. It's like they're going into all these things and they're just looking to see where they can possibly make money at. Right. But I wish they would concentrate more on their own operations before they start branching out into other things. I think it's great that they're looking at those things and try them out, right? They also did, what is it? They were doing a pilot program for methane gas that they were using to power Bitcoin mining as well. So that's kind of cool there. They're doing a lot of cool stuff there, but the market doesn't really care about that. The market cares more about their operations and things like that. Let's see here. My average on CORZ is $8.65. What do you think? Horrible entry or decent? I think in the long run, it's going to be a good entry. So it's not the greatest, I'll be honest with you. If you could have gotten in a little bit earlier, that would have been great. Maybe you kind of FOMO'd in a little bit here, but I don't think it's FOMO yet. I don't think we're at the peak of the bull run yet. So even if CORZ is a 5x from here, you'll do very well, right? So that's the way I kind of look at it. Let's see. Why did Hut pump so hard today? Sometimes the miners, how do I want to put this? Sometimes the miners rotate a little bit as far as which ones pump and which ones don't pump, right? Some will pump, and then we'll have a rotation going into some of the ones that didn't pump, and you'll see that. And that's the only thing I can see there. There's no news from Hut 8 or anything like that. We're still waiting on their May production updates, and we're already in June 20th, right? If we don't get it by the end of the month, I would be really, really concerned if you're an investor there. Ryan, holy crap, I caught the live stream. Welcome aboard. Thanks for coming in. Hi, so excuse my silly question as I'm learning. When, for example, I see Wolf's analyst target on CNN, for example, it says $7 high, $6 median. Are they forecasting the price at the peak of the cycle? No, I think they're just looking at their base numbers here. Let me take a look at where I have TeraWolf right now. Let's see. Where's TeraWolf? There it is. TeraWolf, I have them. Okay, I have them a little bit lower. So they're looking up a little bit. They're looking a little bit more future based here, I think. But those numbers are still way too low, I believe. If they're looking at $6 on that, right? I have them at $3.66 to $5.49. They're at $4.63 right now. I think they're pretty fairly valued for right now, where Bitcoin is and everything else, and their revenues, things like that, over the last basically current quarter and the last 3 quarters prior to that. Right. So, but if we look forward to it and they grow, they get rid of their debt that they have left over, I definitely think this stock will do much better going forward. I still believe it could possibly do like an easy 5x out of here. Right. That's if Bitcoin goes up to 150,000, 200,000, somewhere right around there. That could definitely happen. Okay. So let's see. Do you think it is wise? Do you think it's wise at this time to change Mara shares into IREN? I would say, honestly, I would say no. I don't think it would be wise at this point. Marathon has been underperforming. It could catch wow, can't think. Could catch a grip on a nice rally here going, right? So IREN also, I think, is very well priced right now. they will do very well going forward with Bitcoin going up much higher. But I mean, I don't know if there's going to really benefit into getting to Mara now or getting to IREN now. I think maybe had you done it, let's say maybe 2 weeks ago, even 3 weeks ago, that would have been a better time to do it. Right, I did it, I think it was 2.5 weeks ago now when I swapped out of Cleanspark, not swapped, sold a portion of my Cleanspark shares and got into IREN. So that worked out at that point. But right now, I just don't think it would make sense. But you got to do your own thing, right? Let's see here. Or when you set a price target, is that for a specific period of time or is it for the cycle of things? So that was based on the prior question. When I set the price, it's based on the prior 3 quarters and the current quarter that we're in numbers. And then I give them a miners that are growing nicely, I give them a PE of 20. Miners that are not growing as nicely going into the future, I give them a lower PE value on it. And that's kind of worked out pretty well for me. Right now, everybody's kind of, I mean, we'll go through that maybe over the weekend. We'll take a look at where everybody is, if they're fairly valued or undervalued. But that kind of worked out for me. And as far as the analysts are concerned, they're sometimes way off. Price targets are only price targets, really what they think. And it's the same thing for me. My price targets have worked out pretty well as far as where I think they're fairly valued or undervalued or overvalued. Typically, the miners are either, in my charts, are either undervalued or they're kind of like fairly valued, right? I haven't really seen miners get too overvalued, but we haven't really gotten into a major bull run either. Even though we've been up quite tremendously here, they've pretty much stayed in place or in pace of those numbers that I've set up. But we'll see if it continues going that way. I think once we get into a major run here with Bitcoin, I'm going to start seeing more miners get into being overvalued territory at that point. And that's mainly because I think miners are going to be getting a higher PE at that point, which we may have to raise it up. Let's see. IREN has pumped enough. Need to retrace a bit before jumping in. Yeah, I would agree. I think it has to come down a little bit. Take a breather before it starts going back up maybe. Excuse me. What is the total amount of dollars Bitfarms will raise through their ATM? I think it was like 350 or 375 million completely through that. I think they've pulled on it like 100 some million already. So they still have some to pull on it. Let's see, IREN did 3x or more, and you want to go in now, you're going to be people's liquidity. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. Just it's gone up too high, too fast. It needs a little bit of a pullback. Maybe wait a little bit before you get into it. But yeah, be patient there. Don't try to chase it. Unless it's still really low, right? Where it made sense for me to do it because I still saw nice potential there. Let's see, how much has Marathon used of that 1.5 billion ATM? I have no idea. That would be kind of good to know. We'll find out maybe. We should find out when they report for Q2, but we won't get that until sometime in, probably when is it? Q2 ends in June. So we'll probably get that in August, middle of August probably. Angie says, hi Sebastian, your technical analysis is solid, incredible, helpful. I'm curious about your price targets and your spreadsheets. Do you consider them to be conservative or bullish? Conservative. I try to be on the conservative side of things. Right, I'd rather get in close to those ranges instead of thinking they're going to go much higher. So that's kind of the way I look at it, those. Let's see. Question, hi Seb. In all your time in the market, have you ever seen a miner go broke and never come back? Thank you. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's been stories about that happening. But I really have been kind of like looking at the miners here, like head on since, when was it? 2020? I started, yeah, I would say 2020, right? At that point. So we've already seen a couple miners get in trouble, and they're kind of maybe on the brink of going out of business. Argo's one, right? We had CORZ go into bankruptcy because of the stupid things that they did. But they've got a new CEO and they're doing much better. And then you also have Mawson in there. They sold infrastructure to Cleanspark to get out of trouble. You saw, who else did we see there? We saw Bitfarms get in trouble as well. We saw, who else got into trouble there? I'm trying to think. Hive was okay during that time frame. Who else was selling stuff? I think Andy was selling some of their miners as well. So there was a couple. And the ones that I think might not survive now is like Argo and Annie still, unless Bitcoin really starts ripping much higher for them. They have older fleet. Mawson has older fleet also, but they've kind of transitioned over into hosting more so than their self-mining. So eventually I would think their self-mining is going to be going away, potentially, if it hasn't already. They actually came out with the updates here, so I'll have to take a look at that later on, see what that is like. But yeah, I mean, miners can get definitely into trouble here if they don't do things right. Ahmad asks, I wonder if the HPC will be the new Bitcoin. Gosh, I don't know. That's a tough one, right? Sam from BitDigital has said that the profitability on HPC is equivalent if Bitcoin was at like 100,000, 110,000 or something like that. That's the equivalency there. So when Bitcoin goes higher than that, that's where the more profits come in for the miners at that point. And then just having those customers, you need those customers. Otherwise, if you don't have customers, how much hype is there in HPC? Let's see. Hi, Sebastian. Hive was doing 1 million every 3 months as per reports, and that grew to 1 million per month this quarter. Yeah, that's what I've thought. Yeah, so 1 million per month. So that's still pretty good, right? If they can continue to grow that, I think they want to grow that to. What do they say they want to grow that to? Is it 25 million a year or 200, or was it 250 million a year? Correct me if I'm wrong there. I heard something about 250 million. I think they wanted to go like 250,000 a quarter to 2.5 million a quarter to 25 million a quarter, something like that. That might be, maybe that's what I heard. Let's see here. Bitcoin going up tomorrow. I don't know. Where's it at right now even? What's it doing up here? It's up 0.21%. It's kind of flat, more or less. Hard to tell if it's going to do anything tomorrow. We'll see. Let's see. Bitcoin at 4.27 Canadian right now. Is it a good price to buy right now? Are you talking about Bitcoin or Bitfarms? Bitfarms. Okay, so then you corrected it here. Bitfarms at 427 Canadian right now. It's a good price to buy right now. Hut 8 increased 20% in the last few days. Why? It's been undervalued, right? And that one, and then I don't know. Maybe there's something going on. Maybe there's some insiders buying or something. Maybe there's something going on with them because they haven't reported their monthly updates yet. But Bitfarms, I think Bitfarms still has a lot more room to run potentially. They got to get a new CEO there. They got to get past this Riot hostile takeover as well. And at that point, I think the stock is going to do very well. It's done pretty well here recently. Here, it's up possibly what it was like $2 something. It's at $3 something now right now. So it's almost up 100%. Excuse me. Let's see. Hi, do you think miners will keep going higher from here, or there's more pain ahead? I'm only 10% up. Should take profits and re-enter or let it run. I would say let it run dollar cost averaging if you can. If you see dips, buy in more, because this might be pretty close to the lowest that we're going to get here in the next possibly 12 to 18 months, maybe. I don't know. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it on these things. I'm still looking to buy more into Bitfarms because I think that one's more undervalued. I'll probably buy a little bit more next week on that one. And then other ones, I'm heavy in everything else. So, and those have done really well. So I'm just kind of holding out there. Let's see. Hi, Seb. Thoughts on Wolf for future hash rate and debt? And does Grid has any new pump price side? Grid, yeah. Okay. So let's start with Wolf. Wolf future hash rate is going to be like 8 exahash this year. Let's take a look at my numbers here really quick on Wolf while we have them up anyways. TerraWolf. Okay. So here is Wolf. Wolf, based on what they have reported as being purchased right now, let's see here. This is TerraWolf, yeah. I have them getting to with, let's see here, Lake Mariner self-mining. So this is 13.4. That's total. Is that total? Let's see, 10.5. So it looks like we're going to be at 13 terahash. I'm sorry, 13 exahash potentially. With them right now, I have them. Why do I not have these in here? Optional. Oh, that's why. Optional. 5, 13, 24. They said the S21s, they have optional to get 6 exahash of those. Okay. I have to kind of relook at my numbers here. So if they get those, we're looking at 13 for their self-mining. So take out 6. We're looking at 7.5 right now, right? If they purchase these, they haven't purchased these, but I have it in here. So we're looking at 13 optionally. Realistically, we're looking at 7.5 right now. And then that gets them to a total of about 10, which includes their JVs as well in there. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at. But let's get back to the Q&A side of things. Let's see. So that's Wolf there. And then their debt. I think their debt is going to be paid off. I think they're down to like 70 some million at the end of Q1. They were saying that they're going to pay off another 20 million here in Q2. They'll bring them down to around 50 million or so. So then they still have to pay off about 50 by the end of the year. On that one. And then grid, any pump price set, I have no idea. We'll see what happens tomorrow with it. What's up huge today? Simon asks, why did everybody jinx BTC by saying it was going up higher? Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin kind of acts in its own way, regardless of what we say. You know, it's the money makers, the markets. They want to make more money. They want to scare us out. They want to basically have us capitulate, sell out of the miners, Bitcoin, and that's when they're going to pump the price up. Enrique Monkey says, I feel like Mura is about to pump. Possibly. Let's see. Which of the miners, say 1 through 3, do you believe will have the largest percentage gains this bull cycle from here? Might Bitfarms be one? Yeah, I think maybe Bitfarms is because it's still so undervalued. But based on this, so this would be based on growth and hash rate, right? And if they can execute. So if we're looking at that, I'm thinking like Cleanspark, also IREN because of their good operations, and then Bitfarms in there as well, right? If Marathon and Riot can fix their operations, then they would be in there as well potentially. So you're looking at the maybe top 5 there on that. Do you think CORZ can 10x from here? Oh gosh, that would get them to approximately, they're at $9 now roughly. That would give them to $90. And then you still have the dilution that's going to be happening from the warrants. That's going to give them to 400 million shares. What's that going to be? 400 million times 10. That's going to give them to 40 billion market cap. Is my math right on that? No. 400 million shares times $90 per share. Gosh, what is that going to be? Hold on. I got to run my calculator. I think it's going to be 360 billion market cap. That would seem pretty high. But they would be getting 250 million a year in revenue, so that still seems really high. Let me see here. Where's my calculator? Okay, so we got 400 million shares after the warrants get exercised. Multiply that by $90. 36 billion. Okay, so I was up by one, not 360 billion, but 36 billion. At that point, that might not be too bad. Might be possible. It's definitely going to be tough. I think Bitcoin has to go up much higher for that to happen as well. Let's see. Biggest percentage gains are more likely to be either Cleanspark, IREN, and maybe Bitfarms class leaders, or lucky microcaps, SDIG, any, which could both pop with the sector. Yeah, I mean, some of those smaller guys, people will be looking at the miners that are most undervalued potentially at that point, that haven't run up yet, and you could get some of the smaller miners there. But with the bigger guys, I think there's more of a possibility of that happening. And Simon says CORZ will be also solid. Yeah. Let's see. Bitfarms really rally will happen when they announce 12 exahash and new CO. I believe the same thing. I think at that point the stock will do good, really, really well. Benjamin says, and yes, I FOMO'd into CORZ. Yeah, I mean, it happens, right? But I don't think we're at the FOMO stage yet. We're just getting started with the pump in Bitcoin price, potentially the miners as well. We still have a ways to go before we reach full FOMO on it. Let's see. I have so many 25 and 26 Bitfarms calls, praying for the 12x. 25, 26. That would be on the higher end of where I think it might go. So you would need Bitcoin possibly at that point to go to past 200,000, I think. If that happens, then you might be good. If Bitcoin doesn't move higher in 2024, would you consider overvalued? For the miners? Yeah, at that point, if it doesn't go up much higher than where we are right now, we might be overvalued. But sometimes Bitcoin takes a while to get going. We saw it last cycle as well, so who knows? Let's see. Riot, Cleanspark, Mara, and Bitfarms CORZ looks like the correction has started. With them coming down a little bit, maybe. I mean, they've had a good rally here, so they need a little bit of pullback. Let's see here. BTC got to test the 100 EMA, in my opinion. Yeah, I think so too. I think we're pretty close to that. I was looking at the chart. I'm using the simple moving average. You're using a different one. I don't know how much of a difference there is between that. Let's see. Many started today with red candles, candles. Yep. Let's see. Raging 206 says, dude, please raise your volume. It's hard to hear. All right, let's try this. I'm going to raise it up a little bit more. I don't want to make it too loud for you guys. Here, how's that? Let's see. I feel like the ATMs are an infinite money glitch. They are in a sense, but as long as they're accretive to investors, I don't see a problem there. And usually, I mean, you can see what's happening with some companies, right? Some companies do really good. IREN, Cleanspark, I think Bitfarms as well. And then you got companies that use the ATMs to then also, give themselves huge bonuses through stock-based compensation, all that stuff. I don't think that's very accretive to investors at that point. But as long as they grow, maybe that's okay. Hey Seb, do you have a minimum dollar amount threshold when you started a new position in a miner or invested in general? No, I had a theory, and that theory was to buy into the miners in the bear market. I didn't know where the bear market was going to end, like where was the bottom going to be. So I started buying in 2022 in January, and I just continued to dollar cost average into it because I didn't know where the bottom was going to be at. I don't think anybody knew, right? We didn't bottom out until the end of 2022, right? So had I waited, maybe I could have gotten better pricing, but I don't know, right? We could have ended in June of 2022 and gone up. So I'd rather be early than be late. And as I dollar cost average in, I was just basically putting in like the same amount for the miners I was getting into, Cleanspark, Bitfarms at that point. So as the stock price was getting lower and lower, I was buying more shares for the same price or the same amount that I was putting into it. So it's worked out pretty well. Sadie, yes, thank you. Likes help the channel. Let's see, Michael says they mostly sell off to the bottom after hitting the bottom, then rebounding like they've been doing all year. Yeah. It's a bouncing back and forth between the two and then going higher. Let's see here. Sound check good. Okay, thanks guys. Let's see here. What do you think Bitfarms will be when they hit 12 exahash in a month, especially if they select a CEO? I think they should be probably around like $5 at that point, but that might take a couple weeks to get there. I think right around there, I think they would be kind of fairly valued at the current price that they're at, because the amount of shares that they have out there, they have almost like 400 million shares, so you got to take that into consideration as well for the market cap compared to other companies as well. Let's see. Do you think Bitfarms will be able to energize the installed machines by June? Do you guys follow Bitfarms on Twitter? They posted a picture today of somebody in a mining farm, and they asked, who is this and where am I, or something like that. And then it looks like they were putting in the T21 machines in place, so replacing some of the older machines that they had. I think it was at Shermbrook facility. I think that's how you pronounce it. So maybe they might be getting close to that, right? If they don't get to 12 exahash, I don't think it's a big deal. I think if they get close to that, 11 exahash or closer than that, that'd be great. But we just need to know a reason why they couldn't get to 12 exahash. They provide a good reason, right? They were waiting on electricity connects or something like that. Okay. Let's see. Question, when do you think Riot will fix their operations with the new sites? Well, they got to do it soon, right? Corsicana has been operating now for about a month and a half or so, roughly, give or take. So we should see much better figures from them for June numbers, at least, as far as their average operational hash rate, instead of the 8 that we saw, roughly the 8 that we saw for May. With the amount they've been installing here, I'd like to see that above 10 potentially as the average, or close to that at least. That way we know that the things are improving there, but we'll see. What are all the costs per Bitcoin? What are all the costs per Bitcoin? Are you asking what's like the miner's all-in cost for Bitcoin? They differ from miner to miner. On the low end, you might be at all-in cost of about, I think, like 45, 50,000, going all the way up to like 80, 90,000 for some of these guys. Let's see. I think Bitfarms could fall to 233, which is the 20-day. I don't know if that's not out of the question. It could definitely do it. I mean, Bitcoin continues to hover where it's at or goes down. We might see a wick down as well. Hi, any updates from Hut 8? Why the stock price keeps going up? Yeah, I mean, there's no updates from them. Maybe that's why the stock is going up, because there's no updates on their poor operations or something. But we're still waiting on that. Let's see here. IREN, Cleanspark, Bitfarms, CORZ, and your price targets. The only thing I can say is probably much higher from here. Bitcoin goes up higher. Right? It's kind of hard to figure out exactly where they're going to be. Let's just say Bitcoin goes up 50% from here, right? At that point, I think the miners could do like a 3x potentially, somewhere around there. Let's see. I told another chat last night that NVIDIA would fall today, which was overbought, and the QQQ is the other overbought exchange in the history of the markets. I didn't follow NVIDIA, so if it fell today, probably needed to fall a little bit. Yeah, if it's being too overbought, you need a little bit of a pullback. Let's see. Between Mara and Bitfarms, who do you think has better return potential from here? I would say Bitfarms, honestly. I think Bitfarms has more room to run based on where they are right now, based on their valuation compared to their peers, everything else. If they can solve the issues with the CEO, get a new CEO in there, get Riot off their back from the hostile takeover, I think they will do just great there, right? They're getting to 21 exahash by the end of the year, and then they got already plans to get to like 35 exahash in 2025. So they got plenty of growth ahead of them. Also, is there a deadline you have for stopping your miner purchases? I want to buy more, but prefer to avoid those pesky short-term capital gains taxes. I mean, if you're up 200%, 300%, who cares if you have to pay short-term capital gains taxes, right? I think that's a better way of doing it than sitting on the sidelines potentially. So I would say the way I would look at it is, can I get at least like maybe 3 to 5x potential on a stock, right? If I can still do that, and then I think then it makes sense. Once you get above that, well, maybe not so much, right? Maybe you start looking for miners or another stock company that's more undervalued potentially. Question: what would happen if Bitfarms stock, if Riot goes for it and Bitfarms takes the poison pill? At that point, we would have more shares. Riot would get less shares. I believe that's the way it would work. So there would be more shares outstanding in there. That's the way it would work. Now, as far as how would the price be affected by that, I think the price would probably come down because of it in the short term, but would make it unappealing for Riot to buy them out. I mean, they could always do, which I don't like, but they could always do a reverse split afterwards, right? After Riot kind of concedes that they're not buying them out, they could then do a reverse split, get the number of shares back down to a reasonable amount. Let's see. Intrigued by Mara, already the recognized group leader, but expanding into South America and the UAE for mining plus other purposes, a group leader and a growth play. They are a group leader there, but they got to fix their operations. If they don't fix their operations, I don't know, the stock is going to be not as well valued as it probably should be. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Is it possible for Bitfarms to reach the 20 plus range in dollars? I think it's possible, as long as the shares don't increase too much, right? If that happens, you can throw that out the window. But you got to look at the market cap as well. Where's the market cap and things like that? But $20 range, possible, right? Bitcoin goes up to 200,000, maybe a little bit more than that. I think it's possible for them at that point. See, how high do you see Mara Riot going by the end of the year? Thanks. Again, if Bitcoin goes up 50%, let's just say from here, I would say maybe for those guys, 2 to 3x, right? Somewhere around there, I would think would be pretty fair for that. Let's see. Mara, Bitfarms, IREN, CORZ, Cleanspark, please rank order in terms of their potential returns from here. Oh, gosh. Okay, so I would have to possibly put Bitfarms in number 1 spot because they're just undervalued. Then you got CORZ. And the other ones are going to be tough. The other ones are going to be more in line with like maybe 5 to 7x potentially, or maybe a little bit higher. So all of those, Marathon, IREN, CORZ, and Cleanspark would probably be in that boat there. Unless they come out with that they have huge growth plans going forward, right? They're buying miners, buying infrastructure, whatever it might be. If you see those types of things where there is growth, that's going to bump the stocks up even more at that point. See, I had a small SDIG position, Stronghold position at $11, averaged down for 6 months until I reached $3.93. I sold today when I broke even, moved my money to Hive versus SDIG. Your thoughts? Okay, so Hive would be an easy win for me on that one compared to Stronghold. But I still think the only thing don't get me wrong. I think Hive is a great company. They do all the right things. They have great balance sheet. They do great operations in mining. They do a lot of great things. The only thing with them is the growth. We're not seeing the growth that we're seeing with the other miners where that growth is being then returned in huge price gains on those shares, right? So that's the only reason I'm kind of on the sidelines with Hive. I had Hive since 2017, 2018. Sold it just last year because I didn't see the growth that the other miners were projecting for this year. But yeah, Hive otherwise is a very well-run company. Let's see. Robin says, I'm thinking the Bitcoin ETFs are losing favor and many larger players are coming back into the miners. What are your thoughts? Well, the ETFs are just that. They're ETFs, right? They're people that want exposure to Bitcoin without actually having to physically hold Bitcoin, right? Or get involved with the KYCs that the exchanges require, all that other stuff. It's just easier for them. It's usually for the people that have profit sharing plans, 401ks, Roths, IRAs, things like that. So those are the people that are kind of getting into it, and they might not even know that they're getting into it because they could be bought by institutions that are buying it, right? So they might be in a plan, a growth plan or something like that, and it's just being bought in there. So for that reason, I don't think it's they're not going into favor. I think right now we still have, it's only been, 6 months since the ETF has been approved. The ETFs have been wildly successful. I think the most successful ETF launch ever in the history of the market. So I think there's still a lot more to go, but I think we're getting manipulated a little bit here by the moneymakers and everybody else. Just going to keep the price suppressed a little bit longer, get people to get out of it, get people to get out of miners as well. But the miners have been actually going up here, so that's kind of great to see. And then they'll, probably pump it up. It's in their advantage to pump the price of Bitcoin going forward because that's where they make the money on it. So I think long term was still looking good. Let's see. Bitfarms hasn't made a profit in the last 3 quarters, and the only reason that went up was Riot saying had a stake. Yes, it went up because Riot basically put a floor in it at $2.30, and then also kind of cleared up some of the FUD there was with Paraguay, right? If Riot's trying to get into them, they're not going to get into somebody that has potential issues going down the road. They're going to do their due diligence on them. So they kind of cleared that up. So the only thing that really leaves us with is the CEO. They do have a small HODL, yes. And the reason that they haven't been profitable is because they've been paying down their debt, right, which was a mistake by the previous CEO, not the one that just left, but the one prior to that. But they did all that in 2 years where they paid off $100-some-odd million in debt. And at that point, they started to grow, which is now where we're seeing the fruits of that labor there. But we had just so much FUD around it. That's another reason why it was kept down here. Let's see. Riot goes down. That Bitfarm may follow. You mean if Riot sells out of them, maybe? Bitfarms would probably go down at that point. Yeah, Riot owns 14%. I think the miners are getting back to where they are valued at and are now just watching for BTC to pump or just waiting for BTC to pump. Yeah. We've seen this before. I've said this before in other videos where the miners sometimes, not always, but there's only maybe, 2 hands full of times where this has happened, where the miners front run Bitcoin as far as potentially going back up. We also see the miners front run the peaks as well. So if you look at last cycle, you'll see that the miners actually peaked before Bitcoin did by about a week or so. So there's something always to keep an eye on there. If the CORZ converts causing short selling, I think the VWAP for mandatory conversion will be tomorrow. Wow, interesting. Okay. You're talking language that I don't understand there, but I think I understand what you're saying there. Question, technical view of Cleanspark. Do you think consolidation looking good here with takeoff imminent? What is their share issuance looking like right now? Their share issuance right now, they are, depending on how much they've been putting on the ATM there, they were last reported, let's see, Cleanspark was last reported number of shares, 227 million shares roughly, almost 228. So what else is there? Consolidation looking good here with takeoff imminent. Do you think consolidation looking good here on the chart of Cleanspark? Let's take a look at Cleanspark here really quick. Consolidation. I mean, we're in this range here right now. So we have been consolidating here, and we did break above this Fibonacci retracement level at 0.786. which at this point, if we get above that and get close, we may go up to like $24, which was our previous high here. So yeah, maybe that is possible. Let's see. How many X's Cleanspark up from here this bull cycle? I think, conservatively speaking, I think 5X is still doable. But that means Bitcoin's above 150,000 or close to 200,000 at that point. But yeah. What do you think of Fred Thiel, the guy from Marathon? Well, Fred Thiel is the CEO there. I don't know what to think of it. He's done some good things here in the past and recently, right? They bought infrastructure, things like that. But they do seem like they're kind of going into too many directions. I don't know. Remember Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs' big thing was concentrate on the things that bring in you the most revenue, cut the rest out potentially. And then when you're doing really well, you could look into other things as well. And maybe that's what they're doing there. Who knows? Is there any Ethereum miners? Not anymore. Ethereum mining ended, when did that end? 2022? September of 2022, I believe, when they went over to proof of stake at that point. Let's see. It has impressed me about Hive. Their conversion the last few years from Ethereum mining to Bitcoin mining takes time, but with good operations management, maybe accelerating growth going forward. Yeah, so they were using the GPUs to mine other coins. They were mining Ethereum, but in the past, Ethereum mining was very, very profitable for them. It was the most profitable side of their business. So, yeah. But, I mean, you saw a huge decline when that Ethereum went from proof of work to proof of stake and revenue side of things. I think they were making, what was it, at one point, like $4 million a month on it, and then all of a sudden it went down to like $250,000, $300,000 a month. So, because they had to switch over to some other altcoins that they had to mine at that point. Let's see. Ed says, we all owe you a big fat super chat at the end of the cycle. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see. Do you think Riot will reach the previous all-time high? What was the all-time high previous? Was it around like $70 some, $80 or something like that? They're at $10 now. If they fix their operations, they get better uptime, and they grow to where they're saying they're going to grow, I think it's possible. They might even surpass it, depending where Bitcoin goes. Let's see. Scott Richardson says, sorry, Seb, love the show. However, there is no they want to keep the Bitcoin price low. They would have to short sell for that to happen. If they're shorting, that's good in the long run if they're selling. Yeah. Also, could it be also, I just heard, where did I hear this? I think I heard this today someplace. But could the government be selling the Silk Road Bitcoins? I don't know. That's another question there. Scott, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Let's see. Do you think Riot, Marathon, and Cleanspark will sell their Bitcoin when it goes to around 150,000? Would that increase share price? I know Cleanspark might do that. They've done it in last cycle where they were selling into the bull run and past the bull run, right? I think they have a trading desk now that they're trading the Bitcoin there. I don't know how much they have trading and what that's doing, but they were talking about that. So I don't know if that changes for them. Marathon last time was hodling everything. So I don't know if they're going to change the way that they're doing it, but they are selling more now this time around. So I would expect that to continue, but they will probably sell, portion, and hodl. Riot, same thing. I think they're going to do what they have done recently, which has been selling a portion, hodling some as well. But I don't think they're going to all sell everything at that point. Yeah. Let's see. That suggests Riot, if it fixes their operations, would outperform Mara this Bitcoin cycle. Well, Mara ended up at, what, $80 last cycle as well, right? That was their all-time high as well, right? If you want to compare miners, you really should be looking at their market cap. Stock prices are going to be fluctuating between each miner, basically, because you have dilution, right? Ones have diluted more than others, and that's going to change. But when you look at their market caps, and ideally you probably need to look at that. Where was their market cap last cycle? Where they're now? It's much higher than it is already. So, price share is important to us because depending when you bought in, you get that X return on it. But if you're comparing apples to apples with the miners, you really probably should be looking at the market cap on them. I think Marathon's still going to be much higher, even though their shares might be lower than like Riot and Cleanspark, potentially. Let's see. Aaron says there is billions of shorts in Bitcoin between here and 73,000. Okay, interesting. Sorry for the shorthand. Okay, so thanks for explaining here. CORZ convertible bonds have mandatory conversion at 779. Volume weighted average price over 20 days. Okay, so that's kind of where we're getting the 20 days in at, which I heard that. I think that will occur tomorrow, and I'm thinking people are shorting. Have they been above 779 for over 20 trading days now? I don't know if that's interesting. Let's take a look at it. Where's CORZ? Okay, that one. I want to go here. Not that one. Screen. Okay, so CORZ, have they been trading for? I don't think they've been trading for 20 days average. I don't know if I can figure out what the average would be. You would have to probably pull in all the numbers for the last 20 days and see where the average comes in at. They're at $10. Maybe. I mean, that might be, but yeah, I'll have to run the numbers on it. I don't know. But it's interesting. That's how it works. Thanks for sharing that. Okay. Let's see. What was Cleanspark peak market cap from previous bull cycle? I think it was lower than where they are right now. Remember, they became a miner in January of 2021. We got peak in not January. Yeah, January 2021 is when they basically rotated to becoming a Bitcoin miner. They had 100 petahash at that point. Excuse me. Bitcoin peaked in what was it? October, November of 2021. Right. So basically, like 9 months after that, or 10 months after that, roughly. So that shouldn't really count for them because they weren't really a full cycle miner at that point, right? But yeah. Aaron says, I heard Germany has been selling Bitcoin recently. Like the government in Germany would be selling it? Let's see, when will Bitcoin reach 100,000? Is it not able to consolidate itself over 70,000? Be patient. We just got past the halving event. We're already in a much better spot than we were last halving cycle. Last halving cycle, we were only at, what was it before? We got to 19,000 prior cycle. We got to 69 at that point. And at the halving event, I think we were like at 30-some thousand. We were halfway to the prior, to getting to the new all-time high or something like that. And it was much lower. Let's see. It is volume weighted. Volume has increased. Oh, okay. Interesting. Aaron says, yes, the government. That's interesting. But how much does the government of Germany have? Isn't the United States, I think, like one of the largest holders of Bitcoin right now because of Silk Road and other things? Let's see. Okay. Scott says, Aaron, that's what I heard also. Okay, interesting. Okay. Do you have a sell schedule when you decide to take profits? I haven't sold anything yet except for Cleanspark, and I sold Hive. Those are the only two. Otherwise, I've been just dollar cost averaging into the miners here. So when I do start to take profits, I will probably have a sell schedule going forward as far as where I think they are. Could they still go up higher? I'll probably dollar cost average out, kind of like the way that I dollar cost average out, dollar cost average in. Sorry. Let's see. Is any a strong growth play from here? So Sphere 3D you're talking about. I don't hear much talk about it. What about Digital? Okay, so they don't have any infrastructure. They host all their machines. They have all their machines now as well. I think the CEO has been selling there recently, the shares. I don't know if they're going to survive much longer, to be honest with you guys there. But we'll see. And then as far as Digital, what about Digital? Digital, again, asset light. So they don't have any infrastructure as well. So they host everything for their self Bitcoin mining and for their HPC AI side of things as well. They're going to be fine, right? I don't have a concern there. They got a healthy balance sheet. They got 20,000 Ethereum. They got some Bitcoin as well. So they operate great there. But where will they go in price? I don't know. Right now, they're not being valued on their HPC business, and they're not being valued on their Bitcoin business as well. So they're kind of like stuck in limbo right now, right? We as investors want to see huge growth from the miners and hash rate growth, and Digital is not giving that to investors, I guess you'd say, or at least not right now. That doesn't mean that they can't come out and say, hey, we're going to get into 10x hash by the end of the year, right? But we haven't heard that, at least not yet. Okay, Aaron says, I think like $3 billion. Well, that's not much. $3 billion isn't that much if they're selling that. I mean, Bitcoin's market cap right now is what, 1.4, 1.6 trillion dollars. I mean, 3 billion is not a huge amount there. If they're doing it over a period of time, that shouldn't have that huge of an impact on Bitcoin price. Let's see, Nate says, a strong sell discipline, in my opinion, honest opinion, the most important and the most challenging investing trading skill. Yeah, I agree with you there. I learned hopefully I learned my lesson back in the last cycle where I didn't sell Hive at, I could have had like 70,000, almost $70,000 in profit. I didn't do it. I held on to it. I had ended up with like, what was it, $6,000 or $7,000 in profit. So a big difference there from what I could have had. So I agree with you. It's definitely challenging, especially when things are going up and you think, oh, it could go up even more. It could go up even more. Take profits. You got to take profits. Otherwise, it's all imaginary money unless you take profits. Let's see. You don't like Annie. No, I don't like Annie. Sorry. I just don't see a bright future for Annie, Sphere 3D. They don't have, like I said, no infrastructure, old miners there. They were supposed to get to like 1.8 exahash. I think they only got to 1.4 exahash, and then they've sold off some of their machines, and they're at like 1.2 exahash right now. So, yeah, just too much stuff going on there. Let's see, are you bullish or bearish for the month of July? Where did that pop up? For the month of July, thank you, Seb, and see you Saturday. Have a great weekend. Thanks, you too. I'm always bullish on things, right? Even though sometimes we go bearish. But mostly I'm very positive on the outlook of the miners and Bitcoin in general. So I'm going to be bullish. I think we're going to go up, right? We've had a kind of a consolidation phase that we're in right now with Bitcoin. I think eventually we'll, get out of it, get out of the funk. Let's see. What do you think it's fair value for Bitfarms right now? Bitfarms right now I think should be between, where are Bitfarms at right now? Based on the last 3 quarters and the current quarter that we're in, I have them between $4 and $6. So if they get to like $5 or something like that, I think that would be fair value for where they are right now compared to their peers on that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at there. And then let's see. Okay. Aaron says, I made the same mistake last run. LOL. Yeah. I mean, you learn from those mistakes, right? Hopefully we'll learn from those mistakes. Gosh, I hope I don't. That's one of the things. I have to work on that. I hope that this cycle I do take profits, and I'm going to take profits. I got to take profits regardless of where things are going. Even if things go another 2-3x from where I sell, I'm going to be happy with what I have. But yeah, I got to take profits. Let's see. What is your price target for Riot? Riot, if they can fix their operations and get everything installed, get much better uptime, and then kind of cut back on some of the share-based compensation to the employees, I don't think that's going to impact anything, but I think that'd be nice to see. I think they can definitely get at least, with the price they're at right now, I think they can get like a 6 or 7x possibly from them, because they are kind of down in the dumps right now because of their operations. But it also depends on how many shares they have. All that stuff goes into question. And Bitcoin needs to go up probably like 200,000 at that point. All right. So that is it. I've come up to all your guys' questions here. We've been going on for, how long have we been going on here? Almost an hour and 15 minutes here. So, okay. We're good. We're golden. All right, guys. I do appreciate you so much for coming in here. Tomorrow, like I said, unless there's something drastic that happens tomorrow, we get some news event or something like that, otherwise, I won't do a video, but if that happens, I'll do a video for you guys. We'll cover it at that point. But then we'll do a video over the weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. I don't know exactly when I have time to do it. Like I've told you guys before, I'm remodeling the upstairs with the kitchen remodel and everything else. So pretty much the whole first floor is getting remodeled. We're putting in new floors everywhere, and it's a mess. So I'm dealing with that. So we'll do something over the weekend for sure. I just don't know exactly which day. But otherwise, thank you so much for coming in here. I greatly appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Go outside, touch some grass as always. Enjoy the weather that we have. We're in the summer here. If you're in the northern hemisphere, enjoy the summer. It's a wonderful time to be out here. It definitely beats the winters where you're stuck inside all the time. So enjoy it. Have fun out there. And I'll see you guys in the next one.